Okay, transformations. This is what I would write on my cheat sheet. Y equals a x minus h squared plus k. I'm sorry. So badly. Recap together, I see it. Or is that pre-calc? Never mind.
Yeah. I did some stuff on it.
Okay, so this is on my cheat sheet. So A could tell me if it's negative, my quadratic shape would flip. If it's bigger than 1, it would narrow the arms. You know what I'm talking about? The parabola shape. This is normal. This is normal. So I could flip it. I could make it, the arms go narrow. Or if it's less than 1, I will go wider. H is the position of x, because it's with the x. So this is opposite. Why is it opposite? Because the formula has a subtract sign, which means opposite things. So if it's positive, it would move to the left. And if it's negative, it would move right. And K is the y's. And if it's plus, it means the same. So if you have an add, you should go up. If you have a subtract, it should go down. So you should give me 4 answers to what happened to this one. I need 4 answers. It does what, and what? Flip. Narrow. It'll flip, it'll narrow. It will go 1 to the right and 6 up. Okay, so number 2, guess what? You get your calculator to do most of the work for you. So jump into your calculator here. You have your graphing calculator for the whole exam. Is that what you said?
I don't remember doing the quadratic. I'm talking this semester. We had our calculator?
Yeah.
I don't remember that.
Maybe you should do it by hand because you knew the pre-calc stuff. I don't know.
No, we're gonna play.
No, you would have done it.
Tennis ball like that.
Okay. This is my visual.
Is this the first unit we use the calculator for?
Yep.
Okay.
Okay, I'm going to start with actually my rough sketch. So when I draw my rough sketch, I should show you where my critical points are. What's very important? The x-intercepts. Which side do you kind of see them at least on? They're both on the negative half. So these are kind of the important points. I had 4 points that I want to show you why they're important. What's the name of this point? The y-intercept. What's the name of this point? X-intercept. Same over here. What's the name of this point? What's it called? It's called a vertex, and specifically also we can call it the minimum. Vertex has 2 options. It can be classified as a minimum or a maximum. Okay, so direction of opening, you should look and say, does it open up or down? Hopefully that's a free point. It opens up. Okay, also because the multiplier here was positive, so I didn't have to do the flip thing. Vertex. So I need you to get me that. So we are doing what? We're going to find the max. What do you have to tell your calculator? Left, enter, right, enter, enter. Do you remember those steps? So here's what I'm doing. Oh, sorry, why did I say max? Min, I meant to say. I'm doing a minimum. Enter. Where's your mouse? Your cursor, move it, move it, move it. Left, enter, right, enter, third enter. You got to enter at three enters. So the vertex is what? I'm getting -3, -7. And that is a coordinate, so it should have brackets on it like that. Guess what? I knew that from pre-calc because all I can do is it moves left 3, down 7. There you go. That's where it is. Okay, x-intercepts. What's the name of this in our calculator functions? You remember that one? And it's not x-intercepts. It is called a 0. Oh my goodness, I missed a question. I'm really... You guys, sorry. Vertex is that.
Yeah.
Axis of symmetry is cutting line. How do you make a vertical cut? X equals -3. Okay, so an x-intercept, you need to do a 0, and then you need to be left of it and right of it. So 0, move your cursor. If I'm doing, I have to do it twice. So if I do this one, I'm going to enter above it like that, and then be on the other side of it like that. You're making your mouse say between here. Third enter. There's my one value. Okay, see if you can get the other one on your own. Okay, how did we do? Okay, next is the y-intercept. What do you do to get your y-intercept? Well, my y-intercept is going to be 0, comma something. I know that for sure. So what should I do? Trace 0. Just tell my mouse. When you know that x value, you can just tell your mouse to move there. Okay, domain. Domain is our x values. So we're going to talk about them as moving like a book, left to right. What's the farthest left this graph will go? What is this doing? It's going, going, going. So negative infinity to positive infinity. Our range has to be written like this. What's the lowest height to the highest height? So what is the lowest height this graph is at? -7 square, exactly. And then up, up, up. Okay, name a symmetric point to -1, 1. This is the symmetric point. That's what that means. So what do we for sure know about this point? I know something specific about it. What do these have to have the same of? The same heights. So what do you do on your calculator if you know the y value? y2 equals 1. And then what do you do with those two? You do the intersect. Remember that? Get your mouse closer to, there's two intersections, right? Okay, I'm going to clear that one out. I'm done with that. So that's what I did. Okay, what is the height of this graph? When you're at 2, what's this height going to be at? Okay, so what do you do when you know the x value? What do you do when you know the x value? Trace 2. You just tell your mouse, go there. Trace 2. You just tell your mouse to go there. At what positive x value is the height at 100? Oh boy, that's big. That's way. Height of 100. What do you do when you know the height, the y value? You do a y2. When you know the height, y2. When you know the x, trace it. Okay, you have two intersections, but I said a positive x value, so I only want this intersection. And what is wrong with our situation? What's our, not our table, our window. This height has a 10. So let's go to what, 120? There we go. Now I can see it. Intersect. Okay, what are we doing on our cheat sheet for sure here? This is big. This is like, what? How many points do you think I'm going to give you on this question? Like 13, 15 points? I don't know.
What? Out of how many?
I don't know, but look at this question. It's got a lot of stuff on it.
Hey, like I'm
I
a
don't
long
know.
exam taker, so like.
I'm just saying this is a heavy question, so
How many pages is the exam?
I don't know.
This might take me 5 hours.
Yeah? I didn't memorize what it is.
Okay, so
This seriously might take you 5 hours.
Okay, so our first question was direction. So you're up or down. I hope that's straightforward enough. Vertex. You're either looking for a what? A max or a min. That's your calculator instructions. And we probably should go left, enter, right, enter, guess, enter. Does that make sense if I wrote like that? Left enter, be left of it, right of it, and then guess it. You have to enter 3 times though, right? So what's the button that we're doing for x-intercepts again? It's a 0, left enter, right enter, guess enter. Same instructions, right? Left enter, right enter, guess enter. That's the same, but this one's just called the 0. And look at how I write my coordinate, because the height is 0. It's on the ground. It's on the ground, right? On the ground. That's what it would mean, right? In a word problem, that's where you're hitting the ground, the height. Y-intercept. Y-intercept is 0, comma number. How do you get to that? Hey, I know the x value. So what do I do if I know an x value? Trace 0. Just trace 0. Okay, what would that represent in a word problem situation? What would this value, if it was like 0, 10, what would 10 represent in a word problem? 10 would be the, what? Starting height. That would mean a starting height. Left to right, negative infinity to positive infinity, or if we're going to talk about a word problem, remember we don't take the whole parabola. We only take where we start at the time and end at the time, or something like that. Range is low to high. You have some options depending on the situation. Here we're at a low number and then we head up. Here we're going down forever and then reach a top. Okay, now you have two situations in word problems. Sometimes I say, where are you when X is this? So if you know X, you do trace the X number. That's all you do. You just trace the X number and you get there. Just tell your mouse to go there. What if this was backwards and you wanted, if I gave you the Y and you wanted to get the X, then you do a Y2 and an intersection. Y2 intersection. Okay, anybody think of anything else that I need on this cheat sheet for that stuff? Does that sound good? Oh, axis of symmetry. Thought of that. Again, that I forgot.
That's just the X value.
Okay, I would say 50% of the people get this question wrong. Why do people get this question wrong? Because they write me this. They write me 2. That is not the right answer. What do you think I want to do differently on that one? Okay, good. X equals. Make sure you have that in there. Because that's the creation of the vertical split there. Okay. I would say that 90% of you got this question wrong on your test right here, this one. Okay, I'm going to do this for you and I'm going to say why you guys got it wrong. Where does this equal this? So everybody did a really good job of putting that in Y1 and Y2 and showing me that it looked like this. Okay, that was great. And almost everybody found the intersections. That's also great.
So then we got a question.
Okay, so everybody was doing these steps right. Okay, but you answered it incorrectly. Okay, so that was the process. Where does this equal this? Well, you just throw them into the two equations, and wherever they equal each other is where they're overlapping. Okay? I actually just had this almost the same question on my pre-calc provincial exam, and I had nobody, not a single one of my students got it right either. Okay. If you were to solve this algebraically, and you worked it through, what kind of statement would you have written at the very end of this algebra? X equals. So do I care about that number? No. You should have actually just written that would have been the solution. So nobody on my provincial was understanding that I don't want just the full intersections. I just want to grab the solution, which is the X values of the intersection.
And you get second place. What, together with numbers?
what do you think this looks like physically? Intersection. Yeah. Okay, factoring. So I'm actually just jumping to my cheat sheet right now. Okay. I need you to put your styles on here. This is all your grade 10 outcomes here. This is, I shouldn't have even had to teach this. This was a grade 10 outcome, this factoring stuff. Okay, so here we go. We have one called GCF. This is called GCF. Okay, why is it called GCF? Because I have two terms and they each have a common factor in them. That's why the CF, common factor. So what do they both contain? X. Okay, now I'm going to go X times what? X times what? Does this make sense? This is x squared, and this makes negative 10x. Factoring and foiling it out are the opposite things, so you can kind of go back and forth. Okay, what causes this first x, what causes that to be 0? If x was 0. In the second bracket, what kind of x value would make that bracket 0? If x was a positive 10. Guess what? I'm not taking your calculator away. You can throw the original into your calculator and check your answers. Does it look correct? But I need to see your steps. Okay. Then we had a simple trinomial. This is a simple trinomial. Why is it simple? Because it starts with a 1, x squared. Okay, so what's the trick with simple trinomials? You have to figure out something that's going to multiply to that and add to that. And you're doing your two sets because you need an x set and another x set to make an x squared together. An x and an x to get the x squared. Can you think of your multiplication facts here? Do you got something that multiplies to 48? Six times 8? How do you get to a negative 2? So does this make negative 8x and plus 6x? Okay, right? This is familiar with grade 10 stuff. Okay, check out the first bracket. What kind of x value would make that bracket turn into a 0? Negative 6, right? Negative 6 plus 6 would make that bracket 0. And what would make this other bracket 0 if x was a positive 8? I'll do the easy one next. I'll leave the hard one for last. Difference of squares. So why is it called difference? Because you're subtracting. And squares, things that are perfectly square rootable. So I want you to think about how do you get to this 4x squared with something and something the same? What about 2x times 2x? Same number to get there? How do you get to the 81 with the same number, same number? 9 and 9. How do you multiply to a negative value? What do you know about signs? Plus and minus. And that's that reason why there's nothing in the middle of this thing, because the plus, this is minus 18x's and this is positive 18x's. That's actually why there's no trinomial. Okay, this is not just an x value, so I'm going to show you. How do we make that bracket 0? What do you do with algebra here? How do you get x alone? Subtract 9 and divide by 2. Okay, that's technically what I was doing before. It was just very easy to see. How do you make the bracket be 0? It's just algebra. Okay, this one is a little bit more points. We have the complex trinomial. So why is it a complex trinomial? Because it's going to have more than 1x squared. Something will be with it. Okay, so I'm writing my steps here. My first step is my FLA number. So what do you think F and L mean? What's my first number times my last number? Negative 30. Do you see it? The 2 in the front, negative 15. One times 30, 2 times 15, 3 times 10, or 5 times 6. What did I do? I listed all the ways to multiply to 30. Okay, so we were trying to multiply to that, and we're trying to add to that. Can you think of what in this sets would multiply to this? But I need it to do a add 7. Do you see something? A positive 10 and a negative 3. Would do the negative 30 and a positive 7. Do you see it? Multiply 2, add 2. Now I want to separate F and I want to separate L. How can I possibly get this F? How can I make a 2x squared on multiplying something? The only option for me to go with is x times 2x. That's it. How could I multiply to the 15 at the last? I could try 1 times 15, or I could try 3 times 5. Those are my options. So what am I doing with all this stuff? I'm looking for F and L connectors to make 3x's and 10x's somehow. Do you see some kind of groupings to put stuff with? This is a puzzle. This is a math logic puzzle now, basically. What with what would make a 3x and a 10x? Do you see something? If I group 3x, 10x, do you see those connectors? Okay, so now I'm ready. I'm going to go first times first, x times 2x, And then I'm going to make my foil hooks. So this is just foiling backwards. So my first times my first, I've already got done, taken care of. I need my O. This is my O and this is my I of my foil. What is the connectors here? The X has to connect on the hook to a 3. What kind of 3? Plus or minus? We wrote it up here. Minus. And the 2X has a connection to the 5. So you can see the hooks make 10 X's. And we wanted that to be positive. How do you make the brackets be a 0? Well, if X was a -5 or positive 3/2. Okay, what do you guys want me to do? We did all one example on our cheat sheet. I just did random ones. Did you want me to do them over on your recap sheet, or is this good?
That's good.
That's good. Okay, I also want this on your cheat sheet. I don't know, how's our cheat sheet looking? Is it getting full?
Very small.
Just write really small.
Yeah, very full. Mine's under very full.
I am going to do the quadratic formula. I think most people are very good at the quadratic formula in this, if I remember. Okay, so here's an example. Okay, so this is what I need to know. Whatever's with the x squared is the boss. It's called the A. Whatever's with the x is called the B. And any number value is called a C. Okay, so here we go. X equals opposite B. That's the formula. It says negative B. I'm going to give you this formula. You don't need to write it down. You know what formula I'm talking about? You don't need to write this down. Okay? This is on your formula sheet. Okay, that's on your formula sheet. Okay, so what did I write first? Opposite B plus minus the square root of. What is anything squared? No matter what you're squaring, what should it come out to be? Positive 64. It really, really upsets me when people type this into their calculator wrong because they're like, -8 squared. That's wrong. What's the problem of this? -8 squared. That's proper. Okay? Forget it. It's positive. You know that it's positive no matter what you're squaring. -4 bracket A bracket C. Like that. Divide by 2 bracket 3. Okay, so your next move is to simplify this house, the square root house. That makes sense? Underneath the square root there, total up to 148. How would you type this into your calculator? You would have to do brackets like that, like to say the top family divided by 6. Okay, I'm going to write these answers down, but does that make sense on the typing? You'd have to do the top family brackets divided by 6 like that. Okay. Let's talk about this square root of number part of the formula. If that was positive, which it was, you're going to have 2 x-intercepts, which we had. What if that square root was 0? Can you square root 0? Yes. If I add 0 or subtract 0, is it creating 2 different values? No. So it will have, what do you think? 1 answer to it, right? Because if you add 0, subtract 0. And what if that was a negative value? Can you square root a negative number? No, you can't square root a negative, and guess what? It's never going to touch the x-axis. Okay, what if I threw something like this at you? What if I threw something like this at you? What's going on? What do you have to do? You can't just throw stuff into the formula. What do you know? Yeah, you have to have all one side. That's important. They all have to be on one side. Okay, great. They're all on one side now. Okay, but am I going to trick you? What is the a in this? What's a? -9. Do you see it? It's not what's first. It's what's in front of x squared. What's the b? -2. What's the c? So I could be tricky. My trickiness is, did you make sure it was all on one side? And what if I threw out the order? I'm not just going to go A, B, C maybe. Okay. Oh, this recap is like, just throw it all in our cheat sheet. Okay, I want to do 2 more questions. And then done. And then tomorrow will be all the word problem stuff, okay?
Are you gone again?
I'm gone again on Friday, but I'm here tomorrow. So we'll do word problems tomorrow. And then I will not maybe cover the inequality one that we just did.
Can I have my test back on that one?
I-
Absolutely. Great. My ping was high.
Okay, making equations. Making equations. You have 2 options. I might give you vertex and point. Okay, so negative 2, no, I want to do, sorry, redo. Actually, that would have been fine. 2, negative 5. If I gave you that the vertex is 2, negative 5, and a point is, hey, a y-intercept of 7. Well, the first thing is you better know how to write an actual y-intercept as a point. How do you write a y-intercept as an actual full coordinate? 0, 7. So you better know how to do that, right? Y-intercept is really a 0, 7 there. Then you use this. This is the trick. You use this one. Okay, so when you use the vertex, what letters in this thing does the vertex associate with? H and the K. And when you have a coordinate, it is what letters? X and Y. So here's what I'm going to do. 7 equals, don't know this multiplier, 0. Oh, this has a subtract sign in front of it, so I'm going to write it with an opposite thinking. Okay, do you understand this algebra? It has to follow some BEDMAS stuff, right? Okay, so I have to move the 5 over there. That's one step. And I have to do this stuff's getting squared. So I have to think about how I would type that into my calculator, and that's what I need, because I need the y equals in my calculator, and I need to write with my x button in my calculator, right? I had to solve for A. I substituted, I solved for A, and I did the equation. Those were my moves. Okay. Or the other sample is when you have the x-intercepts and a point. So if I did this, the x-intercepts are 1 and negative 5, and the point is negative, or y-intercept again, of negative 15. And if I say y-intercept, you better understand again, 0. Remember in my formula originally I was using an S, and then I was hating the S because it looked like a 5. So I don't know what I put it on your formula sheet does. Okay, x-intercepts, what letters do you think they would fall into place with? Which letters of that? The R and the Q. And what do you call any coordinate point? What letters?
X and Y.
X and Y. Okay, and then you do what again? Here's my substitution, solve for A, show me the formula in your calculator. So substituting would be negative 15 equals A. X is going to be a 0, subtract 1, and 0 plus 5. I'm writing them in opposite. Why am I writing them in opposite? Because the formula has a subtract sign in front of it.
Is it weird that this is easier for me than the last test we just did?
Yes, because this is new and your last test was all grade 10.
Yeah, but that was a while ago, and it was lovely. He's talking about NASA, brother.
Okay, whoops, same, I did not plan that one. Same number, right? So how do you write it in your calculator? Y equals 3x minus 1, x plus 5. So remember, just as a final thing, your x's and y's have to be open for business for other points. Open for business for other points, right?